Are you a home renovator that struggles to manage client requests? Do you find it difficult to gather all the essential details for your home renovation projects? In this video, I'm going to show you how to build and deploy a home renovation agent. This is not just a concept, this is a fully functional tool. But how does it work? This agent asks very targeted questions, collecting all the essential details about the client's renovation project, from materials to layout specifics, room changes, budget, and time preferences. It asks everything that we want. And the best part, it automatically organizes all this information into a structured report in Google Drive. By the end of this video, you will understand how to get this agent production ready for your business. You will see how it is built, how the different components work together, and how to share this with your clients to start streamlining your home renovation planning process. My name is Dani Fullà, and I'm the CEO of Flowhawk. At Flowhawk, we help small and medium businesses to integrate AI solutions so that they can scale. So if you're watching this tutorial and you think, this is amazing, but I will need help to integrate this into my system, or maybe you need to tweak it a little bit, reach out to us at flowhawk.com. We'll be happy to help. Alright, so this tutorial will be split in 5 main parts. In the first step, I'm going to show you how to build the agent using Pydantic AI. This agent will be powered by ChatGPT 4o mini model, and it will be responsible for asking the relevant questions, understanding what the users are replying, and with this info, making sure that we collect all the relevant details to proceed with the renovation project. And then to monitor and improve our agent, I'm going to explain you how you can integrate Langfuse. This tool is going to help us with logging, analytics, and tracing. This way we can see how our agent is performing and how we can improve it. For the user interface, we will be using Streamlit. Streamlit is an open source library that allows to build chat interfaces, and this is where our client will interact with our agent and will be able to provide responses and upload images. Alright, so once the information is gathered, a structured report will be created as Google Docs format, and it will be automatically uploaded to the specific folder that we want in our Google Drive. Finally, we are going to cover how to deploy this app to Google Cloud, and this way you will get a public accessible app so that you can share with your clients. And I've decided to cover this in this tutorial because normally this is a part that it's not explained in many tutorials, and in the end it's very important because if you just run this on your local server, it's useless. Okay, let's now have a look at the code base. The Pydantic AI agent will be found in the agent.py file. Then the Streamlit interface will have it in the app.py file. And finally, all the functionality related to exporting the reports to Google Drive will be in the gdocs export.py file. Let's have a look at the Pydantic AI agent. Let's ignore for a moment this part of the code, since this is how you set up Langfuse, and I will explain it afterwards. First, we define the output that we expect from our Pydantic AI agent. In this case, it will be this Pydantic class renovation assistant output that will expect a next question that should be the next question to be asked to the user, or none in case it's the final question to be asked, and then a Boolean field that will let us know if the assessment is complete. And then we initialize the agent. So here we are telling that we want to use the ChatGPT 4o mini model, and that the output that we expect is going to be the renovation assistant output. But the most important thing here is the system prompt. The system prompt is like the job description of the agent. We are telling the agent that his goal is to collect detailed information about the client's renovation needs using a professional tone, and to make sure that he asks follow-up questions when needed. After that, we provide a set of areas that we would require from our client in order to understand better his needs. And finally, we provide some instructions to make sure that the agent at least asks 15 questions and that he follows a specific format. Like, we don't want to number the questions and we don't want to repeat the questions. This careful prompting, together with the defined output, will ensure that we have a methodical gathering process. Alright, so with this, let's have a look at the initial part of the agent.py file. And this is where we integrate Langfuse. In my previous video, I explained how to integrate Logfire, but the main reason I have decided to cover Langfuse in this tutorial is that Langfuse supports multiple frameworks. Let's have a look at the documentation. As you see, Langfuse can be integrated with other frameworks such as AutoGen, Semantic Kernel, Langflow. And something very interesting about Langfuse is that they offer this evaluation feature that allows you to evaluate your agents. I still have to dig deeper in the evaluation feature of the framework, but I'm very interested in the human annotation and LLM as a judge features. So very likely I will cover them in a new video. Just let me know in the comments if you are interested to know how to properly evaluate an agent, and I will create this video. In any case, let's proceed with the tutorial. If you go to the Pydantic AI section, you will have all the instructions to integrate Langfuse with Pydantic AI. So all this code that we have here, it's the same that we have in our agent file. In any case, when you are defining the agent, don't forget to add this parameter. All right, so after creating an account in Langfuse, make sure that you get all these environment variables from the dashboard and import them in your environment file. And with this, your agent will be connected to the Langfuse platform. If we go to the dashboard, I have here some tests that I have run before. And as you see, Langfuse has captured the different times my agent has been executed. And it's very interesting because we can see some additional information like latency, tokens spent, in terms of money, how much we spent. And actually, if we click on one of these traces, we could also see the system prompt that is being sent to the model, reply of the user, and also what's the response of the agent to the user reply. So for example, in this trace, we see that the user started the conversation, and with this information, the agent decided to create this question and also to mark the assessment as not complete. And this level of observability is highly invaluable. It helps us understand how the clients are interacting with the agent, where he's asking unclear questions, and with this we can iterate and refine the prompt to improve the performance and the user experience. Let's now check how a client can interact with our agent. This is handled by the Streamlit application in the API file. Streamlit makes it very easy to build web applications with Python. A key concept here is the Streamlit session state. In the session state, we can store the conversation history, collected data, any uploaded images, whether the session is completed or not, the current question, and the next question to be asked to the client. If we now go to the end of the file, the main function sets the page title and the sidebar for some company branding. And this is where the core logic of the program lies. If the session is not complete, it displays the conversation history for the assistant and for the user using the chat message state variable. So when it's the agent turn, we run the handle next question function. This function prepares the initial prompt for our agent. That prompt could be an initial greeting or the last reply of the user. Then this prompt is sent to the agent together with the previous conversation history. And with this, we try to determine if the conversation is complete, if the agent has already asked the 15 questions that we set here in this variable. We can adapt this variable according to what we want. And if we go back to the function, if it's not complete, we get the next question. Now, when it's time for the user to reply, they will see the agent's current question. Now, the user can reply using the chat input, and we have added this function, Streamlit file uploader, that allows the client to upload a file, and this is very useful to collect current conditions of the home or for the client to share visual ideas. Okay, so once the agent decides that the conversation is complete, we will call this save session data that will handle all the export logic to Google Docs and our Google Drive. We'll later see this, but then once this happens, we'll show these messages at the end of the conversation. Thank you for providing your renovation information, and your information has been received, etc. And then we'll create a button to start again a new conversation. So as you see, Streamlit provides an easy way to grab our agent in an accessible web interface. So let's now go to see the export part. So as I explained, we have this save session data that it's in this same file that it's doing some operations, but at some point it's calling the export to JSON and export to gdocs functions. These functions are defined in the gdocs export file. One of the most valuable features of this system is its ability to automatically organize all collected information into a Google Drive and create a structured Google Doc report. So first, we need to connect securely to Google Cloud. The Get Google Services function handles authentication using application default credential. And this is the recommended way to authenticate in Google Cloud. And for local development, you would typically use a command called gcloudauth that we'll later see. The next function in the script is the get or create folder. And a critical piece of configuration is the Google Drive folder ID. And this is a variable that will tell our script what's the main parent folder in our Google Drive. So there is where everything will be stored. So this function ensures that there's a base images folder, and within that, a subfolder named the date followed by chat assessment. And all images uploaded during that specific chat session will go into this dedicated subfolder. This keeps everything organized. Then if we go to the export to gdocs function, it's the function that orchestrates the entire process. It uses the get Google services to get the credentials. Then it creates the correct image upload folder. And if we keep scrolling, we go to the point where the function will create the Google Doc here. So in this part, this function will create the Google Doc and will insert all the content. But to have a look at how the content is formatted, we have to scroll up a bit before the image uploads. And we can see it here. So in this part of the function, we are constructing the Google Doc. We are creating a title, we are adding the timestamp to the title, and we put some formatting. And then for each question and answer, we include this information, and then we add some formatting. For example, as you see here, for the question, we set the question in bold, and then for the answer, we put a blue color. And then if the user has replied with an image, first of all, we upload this image to our Google Drive, then we get the file ID, and then we try to insert this image into the Google Doc using the public URL of the image. And once we have this, then the Google Doc is finally uploaded to our Drive folder. And this is done over here. So now we have this amazing agent that is working locally. But to make it truly useful, we need to make it accessible to our clients or our team. And this will be done by deploying this application to Google Cloud. So in this part of the demo, we'll be using Google Cloud Run. That is a serverless platform for deploying these kind of apps. Basically, Cloud Run makes our lives easier because we don't have to manage infrastructure or servers. All right, so the first thing you need to do in Google Cloud is to create a new project. And you can do this by clicking here, new project. Just give a name, let's say home renovation. Let's create, we have it here. And now we have to make sure that we have billing enabled for this project. So first of all, make sure you select the project and then click on billing section. In my case, I have already billing enabled, but you will see a message saying that you have to enable billing. Just click OK. And then you will have to enter a credit or debit card. So just do it. The next step is to enable Google Doc and Google Drive API services. Let's go here. Let's go to API and services. Let's search for Drive API. Now click on enable. Perfect. And now let's enable Docs API. All right, so now we have a project. We have enabled some services for this project. And now we have to create an account that will be used by our application to access these services. And to do that, we'll have to provide some permissions to this account. Because right now, if we just create the account and we try to use these services, this will not work. This is the good thing and bad thing of Google Cloud. The good thing is that it's very safe in terms of what can be done by a user. The bad thing is that the setup might be a bit complex. In any case, let's create the service account. Just go to IAM and admin, service accounts, and here click on service account. Just give it a name. Let's say home reno. Click on create and continue. And that's it. All right, so now we have here this service account. Let's copy. And now we are going to proceed to deploy our application to Google Cloud. Let's go back to our code. First of all, we run this command, gcloud auth login. Here, we are going to select the account where we have created our project. It's this one. We're going to accept. Once you see this message, it means that our command line is linked with our account in Google Cloud. The next thing we need to do is to make sure that we are in the project that we have created. We'll have to use this command, gcloud config set project, and go back to your dashboard, take your project ID and paste it here. Okay, if you click here, you can take the ID of the project here. Copy, and then paste it in your command line. So now the command line knows what's our project. So now that we have our development environment connected to Google Cloud, we can proceed to deploy our application. And to do this, we'll have to follow different steps. I've listed all of them in this README file, so this way you know the different roles and permissions that you need to assign to different accounts. But in any case, I will do it now so you can follow with me. Just scroll down to the end of the README file, and you'll have to take this command over here and paste it in your command line. Nevertheless, just before doing that, make sure that you replace the service account with the one that you have created, and also that you set the environment variables. To set the environment variables, go to this env example file, and here you have all the different variables that you need. First of all, you need the Google Drive folder ID, where you will be publishing the structured reports. You need an OpenAI API key that you will get from the dashboard of OpenAI. And finally, the Langfuse API keys that you will get them when creating a project inside Langfuse. So for the Google Drive folder ID, the way to get this ID is go to your Drive folder. For example, I want my reports to be created within this folder, and take this ID from the URL, okay? So this is the ID that you need to paste in your M file. And once you have filled all these variables, go back to the README and make sure that you replace these placeholders with the real values. Make sure that you don't delete the commas between fields. All right, so with this, I will take my command with my own values and I will paste it here. So give me 1 second. All right, so now I have pasted the command and the deployment will happen. Nevertheless, what we'll see is that we will encounter some errors. And this is totally normal. Let's wait for it. Okay, here we have the first error. First of all, we see that this service account doesn't have the storage objects get. And what's happening here? We have two service accounts. The one that we have created that will live within our application and that will interact with our Drive folder. And then we need another service account to deploy this application to Google Cloud. Put it another way, we need a service account to handle all this process of preparing the application to be publicly accessible and to be ready to run. And this will be this default compute service account. The difference between a default compute service account and an application service account is that the default compute service account is automatically generated by Google and it has broader permissions than the application service account that we have created. Still, we need to run them more permissions to complete this process of making our app publicly available. To make this possible, we have to assign this service account 3 roles. First of all, logs writer, storage object viewer, and finally, artifact registry writer. So what's going on here? To deploy our app, we have to follow different steps. First of all, we need to take this code and put it to Google Cloud. Once it's there, we have to take this code and create a container that it's a small program that can be later executed. Once the code is uploaded to Google Cloud, our service account needs to access this code. To do that, this storage object viewer is required. Once it has the code, it will build this container and it will have to store this container in the artifact registry. This is when the third permission comes into place. And while doing all this process, we want to be noticed about the different steps and different things that the service account is doing. To do that, we will need to assign the logs writer permission. And with this, not only will we be able to see what's going on real time, but also if there's an error to know what has happened. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how you can assign these permissions. Okay, so I'm here in the Google Cloud dashboard. Now I will go to IAM and admin and IAM specifically. Okay, here I will click on grant access, and as new principal, we'll have to add the compute service account. So let's go back to the terminal. Let's copy this email address over here and paste it here. Very important, we have to paste the compute service account. This is the general account created by Google, not the account that you have created before. Otherwise, it will not work. And now we are going to assign the 3 roles that we were mentioning. First of all, storage object viewer here. Then we're going to assign artifact registry writer. Perfect. And finally, we're going to assign the logs writer. Yeah, right. So let's click on save. Perfect. So now let's run again the command. Sometimes it takes some minutes for the changes to be applied. So if you run the command again and you encounter some errors, don't worry, just wait some minutes and run it again. So now I will run again the command. Now we have to wait for the process to finish. This might take some time. In the meantime, if you want, you can copy this URL. Make sure to copy the full URL and don't just click in this part of the URL, because otherwise, as you see, it is just copying a part of it and it will be broken. As I was explaining, it's taking some time for the new permissions to be applied. And as you see, here I'm being told that the compute service account doesn't have write logs permission. In any case, this is running. Let's see how it ends. I will pause the video here and I will resume once it's finished. All right, so now the process finished and we have here the final URL. And this is where our app will be hosted. So let's have a look at this URL. And if we go, okay, this is normal. What we want to do is to make sure that this URL is publicly available to everyone. To do this, let's go to the dashboard, and here we have to go to Cloud Run. Inside Cloud Run, we have this service that is where our app is hosted. Let's go here. Let's go to Security, and in Security, click on Allow Unauthenticated Invocations. Here we'll have this message, and if we try to save, we receive this message saying that there's an organization policy that does not allow to make these services public. We'll have to modify this policy. Let's click here. Perfect. Now let's click on the domain restricted sharing policy. We're going to disable it. Click on Manage Policy. Now override parent's policy, merge with parent, and as rule, make sure to put Allow All. All right, let's click Set Policy. So now that we have disabled this policy, we can go back to our Cloud Run service and let's click on Save. Okay, it's taking some time to propagate. So as you see, now it's inactive, which is good. Let's go back to the service. This happens a lot of times when you modify policies and when you are assigning permissions to users in Google Cloud. Sometimes it can take some minutes to propagate. So let's try again. Now it worked. And now we have the URL publicly available. Let's click on it. And here Streamlit is loading. Let's wait some seconds. All right, and here we have the application. So now you have this URL that you can share with your clients, you can embed in your website, and it will be accessible. But we just need to do one last thing, and it's assigning permissions to upload the final report to our service account. So if we go back to the README file, as said, now we were working with the default compute service account for deploying the app, and that's it. Now the service account that we have created before will be the one within the app and that will upload the report. So what we need to do is go back to the Drive folder here and make sure that within the Drive folder that you have used as environment variable, you share this folder with the service account. So in my case, I've already shared it. Mine is this one. I've been doing some tests. This is why you see more accounts. But for example, you shouldn't add the compute account. If you just add the normal service account, should be more than enough. Now the app is production ready. You have the URL, you can share it with your clients, and you can start collecting reports. Nevertheless, you have to be a bit careful with this app. There are two factors that could make the costs of the app go up. The first factor is the token consumption of the LLM, and the second factor is that you get an incredibly high amount of traffic into this application. I'm saying this because this is quite cool, but if you want to build something that is a bit more robust, you need to have some safety mechanisms in place. For example, you would limit the input length of the messages, and you could implement a hard stop for the agent whenever it has asked more than 20 questions, for example. All right, so now let's test it. I have here prepared a use case for renovation. Let's say I want to renovate the kitchen. And now I have here some pictures. And I'm sending the picture of my kitchen. Specific goals. I want to modernize it. I don't want to renovate any walls. Changes. Yes, I want to change the place of the sink. For example, let's say not planning any electrical changes for now. So I want to replace the floor. I want a modern and durable material. For example, I like the floor of this kitchen. And here, let's paste another picture. I think it's this one. All right, that one. Now I plan to keep existing windows and doors. As I want to replace them. Let's add another picture of here, cabinets. I like the following. Just before the chat, I stored some pictures of kitchens. Let's say. Let's say that I want to change the oven. Yes, I want a new color. I like something light. Here I had some color. Okay, so you have the idea. Now it will keep asking questions until we cover all the topics that we specified in the prompt. I will go fast just to finish the conversation. All right, so now the conversation is finished. The agent has detected that it has covered all the topics that we want to know about the client, and now it's saving this information to Google Drive. So if everything is properly set up, if we go to our Drive folder, once this saving information process finishes, here we go, we should be able to see, all right, the chat assessment that contains the different questions and answers together with all the pictures that I have uploaded. And that's it. This is how you have a home renovation agent ready to use. And the cool thing is that this use case could be extended to other businesses, because there are plenty of businesses out there that lose a lot of time doing this client interaction, and this agent could be very useful to automate this process and make sure that all this time that we are losing talking to clients, we can invest it in those parts of the business that really provides a high return on investment on our time. And there you have it, a complete guide on how to build and deploy a production-ready home renovation agent. If you found this helpful, don't forget to give a like. It really helps a lot the channel. And make sure to subscribe. I will keep uploading videos on how SMEs can integrate AI. And remember, if you need assistance to integrate this kind of systems into your business, or maybe you need a custom AI solution, contact us at flowhot.com. See you in the next one.